Good evening, St. John. Mel Vincent here, candidate for mayor in the upcoming May 10th St. John municipal elections. Got for you this evening another little one of our conversations with Mel, and wanted to just come on a couple minutes early and give everybody a chance to come in and join us and see what's taking place. This evening we're going to have a little chat on community and volunteerism. Now, that may be a little strange topic in some senses, but we're going to have a chat on that topic. It's really more a conversation about me a little further. I think one of the things that I've been trying to do over the last couple of Facebook Live events we've done is to give you a chance to get to know me a little better before we start to dive into some policy issues and topics that are a little deeper dive. But I think it's just as important, and maybe even more important than anything than talking policy, is to give you a better insight into who I am as a person, what values and morals and ethics that I have. So I'm gonna try to give you a little more sense on some of the things that I've been involved in, some of the things that I think are important, that kind of stuff, because I can't answer every question, I can't answer every issue, but I think if you get a chance to maybe understand me more as a person, that might help you make up your mind when you step in the ballot box or any other fashion of how you choose to vote. So first of all, I guess a quick little update on a couple of things tonight. I'm going to turn my head to look at some data. I just went on the Elections New Brunswick website to see who is all in on this election in our municipality here in St. John. We've got 6 people vying for 2 seats at the councillor at large. We have in Ward 1 5 people vying for 2 seats in that ward. In Ward 2 we have 11 vying for the 2 positions, and Ward 3 there's 6, and again 2 positions there. And Ward 4 there is now 10 people. Now nominations don't close, and sorry, 4 of us that have our name in for mayor. Forget about us too. Anyhow, so just as a recap, you get to vote for 1 person for mayor, 2 people at large, and then up to 2 people in your ward that you live in. And if you go to the again the Elections New Brunswick website, there's a tab you can click on for municipal election, and you can see what ward you're in, and there's a map there and all those kinds of details. So if you're not sure, reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you. And the key word there is up to. You don't have to vote for everybody. You can pick your candidate, your favorite one, and back them, or you can fill out your ballot to the max. There's no requirement in that regard. Tomorrow, Friday, I think it's 2 o'clock. Don't hold me to the date, but that will be the deadline for individuals to decide whether they're going to get their name on the ballot or not. So we still could have a few more people. There's also the DEC, or the old school board system. There'll be candidates there as well, and that's just as equally as important for you to check the list of candidates there and find somebody that you can support in. It plays an integral part in our community, thus the conversation tonight, community and volunteerism. And I think I really want to start by saying thank you to 42 individuals. I'm going to say 41 because I'm one of those 42. Thank you for putting your name on the ballot. Without you stepping up, this process really doesn't get to be what it should be. A chance for all of us to talk and share ideas, and I know everybody has our city's best interest at heart, and I know they want it all to prosper and be better than what it was yesterday, and better tomorrow than it is today. So thank you to each and every one of you. You are all winners, regardless of what happens on when the polls close on May 10th at 8 p.m. It's an important part, and I really appreciate you for stepping up. And I want to comment on a post I saw today, and the individual said, start talking about why you're supporting a candidate versus why you're not. And sorry, I'm at my office in Main Street. You might have heard a couple of bikes, and glad the guys are getting finally out there to get some fresh air and get their lungs moving. But that may have been a little loud. And I thought that was a really interesting post. I think that's important. It's so easy in today's society when we can hide behind a keyboard and not really have any accountability for actions. But I would really like to see us become a far more positive community in all kinds of ways. And I think it can start even in this election. So if you're out there, and whether you're supporting me or whoever you're choosing, I think it's a great concept, and I really want to thank that individual. And since I don't have the right to say their name, I'm not going to. But I really thought it drove to the core of who we should be as a community, and I thought it kind of fit today's message as well. Talk about those reasons why you're supporting somebody. It's too easy to bring somebody down, and I don't think any of the candidates deserve that. It's hard enough to get people to run, and being positive would be a far greater way to encourage others to get involved, and it would be awesome. So a little thought there. I also want to give a shout out to somebody who's been a significant leader in our community, and didn't get a chance to talk about this earlier, but I think we owe a huge gratitude to Shirley McAlery. Shirley has decided she's not going to reoffer this year after 21 long years of servicing the citizens of this city, and I really, Shirley has been a community champion in so many different capacities. So Shirley, if you're out there, I'm a little mixed. If I'm successful in my endeavors, I thought it was really going to be neat to sit at that horseshoe with somebody who sat there with my father, and then sat there with me. It would have been awesome to have you there, but at the same point, I know how long 21 years is. You have dedicated morning, noon, and night. You are truly one of those champions who I know, regardless of what was going on, you were there and participated. You had a lot of tough decisions to make over the years, but I think you made every one of them with dignity and honor to the position you held, and in reality, dignity and honor to yourself. So, Shirley, thank you. Certainly appreciate everything you've done for our community, and I know you're not going away either, and you'll always be there. And I certainly will be reaching out to you for advice and guidance, regardless of what happens. So, again, thank you. So tonight, community and volunteerism. Really, just wanted to give you an idea of some of the things I've done, not to try to go through them all. And this isn't meant to give you any sense of that I've done a lot. I know there's a lot of people that have done a whole lot more than I have, but give you a sense of a little bit of my background, who I am as a person. So a big part of my life has revolved around our sporting community. Grew up in an athletic family where those recreational activities were strongly encouraged, and again, a way of giving back. I graduated out of high school, spent the next 4 or 5 years in university, came home and jumped on board the boys' high school hockey team at Simons High, and spent about the next 10 years coaching the guys out there. And we had some great teams, and learned so many great lessons, and tried to impart some lessons. But I will tell you, as a coach, I think you learn more than what you teach. Spent a few years coaching minor baseball. It was at a time when Little League wasn't as popular, and I think we referred to it as Federation Ball up in Forest Hills. And it was truly an honor. I mean, to watch some of these kids come onto the ball field, some who certainly that was going to be the highlight of their day, put life in perspective for me. When I became a dad 8 years ago last weekend, wasn't long, and Josh pulled me back out onto the ice, and had me coaching kids again. So after a career of playing, and I think a good career of coaching. I thought my skates were hung up completely, but he's got me back out there, and at that unique perspective at my age to have a little more um, insight into the important things of life has really made a lot of things real for me. And I think of some of the kids in this year that we coached, and the smiles on their face when work was a little rough, and even as we went through the early stages of this campaign, and you're busy and you're thinking about too many things, maybe not getting enough sleep because you're waking up thinking about something. When I got out on the ice with these 7 and soon to be 8-year-olds, it put life in the right perspective. That we need to have fun, and that's why I went to those comments earlier about being more positive, because I think that is critical to everything we do. And I even think of some of the kids that are on our team this year who struggled in life, had some challenges, broken families, sometimes worse. It made it real for me when sometimes I had to remind myself that this hour that those kids are on the ice could be the best hour of their day. And sad to have to realize and accept that, but that's life today. And in trying to impart some life lessons, you tried to direct them and guide them as much as you can, but it certainly is a reality. And I think so often we forget about those components to so many lives, that sometimes that hour of ball time, dance, skating, whatever, could be a huge part of that person's life. A little earlier in my life, I got to participate in what's called the Duke of Edinburgh Society or Awards program, and a great East St. John family got me to participate in that program. It's a lot about personal self development. I'd highly encourage anybody who's interested in looking a little deeper inside themselves. It's a great program. I think it's still there's probably still groups. A lot of it comes around the guiding and scouting movements, and it teaches you all kinds of great personal skills, and would be something that I think we all should look at. A lot of different little community pieces, but got to raise some funds for the United Way, and specifically their Poor Boys luncheon a few different times. And again, when you hear speakers come up and talk about their struggles in life, and how important good community leaders and mentors were to them, is always heartwarming. And I think the more we can give to our community, the happier and more prosperous our society will be. I want to take a second, because a couple people have asked me this. Literally from the age of 6 or 7, I've been involved in political activity. Let's push the first 10 years or so away of my life, where I wasn't old enough and wise enough to really understand anything. But in my mid to late teens, from that time period on, I don't know that I've ever missed a political campaign. And yes, in provincial and federal politics, you pick a color, you pick a side, and I've certainly have done that over my time. And but to me, again, it's what side you chose to support, or what individual you chose to support, was never at the expense of the other person. I mean, it wasn't that you valued them less or their cause. Again, I always believed that we wanted the same end result for our community, to make it better. We may have had a little different path, or a little different way of achieving what that end would be. And however, I have always immense respect for anybody that gets involved. And I think if I remember way back to my poli-sci days, I think it's like 1% of the population actively participates in politics. That's an unbelievable number, that in a country as big as ours, and even in a city as big as ours, though I want to make it bigger, that few people get involved actively. That doesn't mean you just vote. It means you're in there trying to work hard and make a difference in your community. And I think for me, being actively involved in politics has taught me a lot about our community. It's taught me a lot about process. It's made me understand how legislation comes forward at all different levels. It's again just being actively engaged in your city, trying to do what you think is right, and it's not good or bad versus evil. It's just being engaged and an active participant. So, I think that's, I don't look at anybody poorly because they've chosen to be involved. And, I've had a lot of different people support me who, sometimes, we were on opposite sides of the political spectrum. But one of the things I always tried to do was be fair. And I'm really happy when, I've reached out to some individuals and asked if they would get involved and help us. They did. And that was the word they came back and they said, Mel, we may have disagreed on who should be the successor at whatever election we were doing. But they said, you always treated us fairly and respectfully. And again, that's my approach to life, is just be fair. I don't know all the answers, but I want to hear what you have to say. I want to try to understand it. I want to try to learn and grow as a person, and try to do the right thing, kind of at the right time. And I think that's what my community activity has been. In the various industries that I've worked in. So real estate has played a large part of my life. I believe in being involved in the political organizations that govern those, the boards, the committees, and I've been an active participant. Even on on the tougher stuff. In real estate we have some internal mechanisms to settle disputes or challenges when they come up. And I remember an individual felt that they had been wronged by another colleague and needed a mechanism to solve that, and that again existed. Two individuals who I have had immense respect for, champions in our community, particularly the real estate world, and myself and two other individuals served as a kind of a tribunal or judicial committee to try to figure out what was the resolution to the matter. And immensely hard when you have two people that you highly respect, and ultimately you got to pick a side, and you're trying to endeavor to do it with facts and understanding. Was difficult, and part of me said I don't want to do this, but that's the stuff that matters, and you got to find a way to go through it. Back when my dad was in his late 50s, early 60s, he was we noticed a decline, and soon in his early 60s came to a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. And one of the things that I think out of everything bad, something good comes. And what the good was I got highly engaged and involved with the Alzheimer's Society, the local chapter here in St. John, and eventually even the New Brunswick Provincial Society. And we got to work with the society on what they called their 5-part series, where those individuals recently diagnosed or their loved ones went through a kind of a 5-part series to learn a little more and understand what their disease was, and how they were could cope and understand it. And I did a piece on how it affected the family, and a horrible disease that I don't wish on absolutely anybody. Brutally tough to watch a family member go through that. And so we shared our story, and I don't mind telling you, there was many a times that we cried, we laughed, we shared a lot of good stories. We tried to make people's lives better, or at least as best we could with that. And we lobbied and challenged everybody to be bigger and better. And one day I was asked to speak at a national symposium that was held in Fredericton. I remember right, there was 1,500 or so people in the room, mainly healthcare workers and nursing home, and I told our story. I told the good stuff, I told the bad stuff. I didn't hold back, and I knew it would cause a lot of emotion in the room, and ultimately at the end of the day, when I finished up, half the room probably loved what I had to say, and the other half the room probably hated me, because we pushed the envelope to try to make everybody better and understand some of those those challenges. I think it was tough and it was painful, but I particularly remember an individual running me down in the parking lot, and a little concerned at first whether they were coming to extract some revenge on me, but um, this guy who was a nurse up north threw his arms around me, and we both shared a couple of different cries. And he said, "Listen, I'm sorry." He said, I never put myself in that perspective, and heard your stories, and it impacted me. So, doing things like that, have I think more than anything made me a better person, made me understand our community better. I also had one of the highlights of something that I got a chance to be involved in, was a 4-year term on the board of directors at WorkSafe NB. I know it's that mechanism that none of us want to have to go to be injured on the job, and go through a process that is not easy. But serving on the board and trying to create some policy, trying to make the best of a bad situation. The goal of WorkSafe is to prevent every accident. We don't want anybody to be hurt in the workplace, and that's a lofty, daunting goal, but it is certainly so important to try to prevent it. And there's been some horrible accidents where workers have lost their lives, and to even review the facts of those cases and try to figure out what went wrong, and how and what policies we can bring forward. I can tell you, and regardless of whether you've endured some challenges through WorkSafe, the staff that work there are some of the greatest people I've ever met. They care at a level that's was frankly unbelievable to me. I just didn't know they could give as much as they did, and often be on the recipient end of that, of some harsh words, and thinking these people are trying to take stuff away from you. I know there's some challenges too. I know there was some things, and I worked very closely with a lot of my board members to improve some situations that were wrong. I mean, it was a scenario where a lot of appeals went to, or a lot of cases went to appeal, and were often overturned just because our policy wasn't right, and some of the stakeholders at the table didn't want to budge from their perspective to try to make the lives of New Brunswick workers better. It's an expensive business. It takes a lot of money out of the payroll system of our employers, but it's an important aspect, and it was one of those significant features in my life to try to help develop me as a person. A lot of other stuff that I've been involved in, but I hope that gives you a little insight as to where I come from. Except there's one last one I want to talk about, and this is a real proud moment for me. But I've talked a lot about my dad. Now I want to take a couple minutes and talk about my mom and some of the lessons that she's taught me. So my mom is the oldest of 10 siblings, 8 girls, and it's my mom and my aunts that I really want to talk about. Sorry to my Uncle Bill and my deceased Uncle Peter, no disrespect, because you guys have played an integral part of the family, but the girls and their ability just go to a whole different level. So you probably know them as the Fryer Sisters, 8 amazing singers who just listening to them is a real treat. And by the way, I cannot sing, will not try for you. I couldn't carry a tune in a dump truck. I didn't get any of that talent, but my mom and her sisters started what is called the Friars Family Celebrate Fund, and at present it is now a fund where we've raised as a family. So my mom and her 9 siblings. There are, I think, 28, and maybe one of my aunts who are maybe listening to this, or one of my cousins, 28 nieces and nephews, or 27 cousins of mine, and 48, and probably in counting, maybe even at 49 now, grandchildren of my mom's and their sisters. And we've created this fund, and it's now at the Greater St. John Community Foundation. And the money that we have raised over the last 15, 16, 17 years is now invested in a fund, and the proceeds, or the growth of that fund through investing in it, will go to support projects in our 5 priority neighborhoods. And we've watched and heard so many stories and videos as to how this fund has impacted the lives of the people in those neighborhoods, and it is a huge piece for us. The reward, the hard work is certainly there, and I know my mom and my aunts and many of my cousins who have that talent practice for hours and hours and hours to put on a performance at the Imperial that is, and I forget how many years in a row it has sold out literally in minutes. You beg everybody for tickets, and there's probably even some swapping going on somewhere. Somebody's asking for favors to try to get in there and get a seat, and it's a great event, and hopefully very soon, when we're all vaccinated and this horrible pandemic is gone, we'll get a chance to get back there and celebrate the successes of our community, contribute, and make that fund even bigger and better than what it is today. So yeah, we're deeply engaged and passionate about our community, and we spend as much time volunteering, and this campaign is about just that, giving back more. It's I'm very grateful that I'm in a position that I can offer my name for in this election, and still want to continue to try to make a difference in our community. I see a couple of comments, and just gonna so Susan, you're asking about my mom. My mom is doing great. My mom actually lives in my granny suite, so I get to see her at least once a day, and I usually try to check in on her in the morning, and and I probably tell you, my mom's doing better than I am. She's in incredible shape. She doesn't slow down and keeps going. If I know my mom, she's probably listening. So Mom, if you didn't see Susan's comments, she's asking, and certainly appreciate that. And Susan, I can just see a couple comments, or not comments, but thumbs up from my brother and one of my sisters. So perfect. Yeah, AJ, thank you. I think this was something. I think we got to do more about this. We got to work hard at being more positive as a society, and it's so darn easy with to be negative. And so yeah, AJ, let's fight this fight and try to get everybody talking in the great positive way that we can. Couple of family members chiming in there. Hi John, hi Melissa. Appreciate your support, and a cousin and a brother-in-law that's part of the family. You may not be able to sing, but you have great people skills. Thank you, Cynthia or Cindy. You're quite welcome, and thank you for the comment. But I can't sing, so I'm glad I got some people skills. Appreciate that comment. So folks, I don't know if that has helped you in any way. We're just shy of 30 minutes, and I didn't think this topic would take that long. We're going to start to change gears and get into some more deeper topics, and we'll talk about how we're going to grow this city and try to expand our tax base. I've got a big meeting coming up tomorrow that I'm really excited to hear more about, and I don't know whether we'll keep that one in the bag for a few minutes, but something that I think is one of, not one of, it is probably absolutely the most important issue that we're going to face, and I'll have an update nonetheless for you, if not tomorrow, over the weekend, to share some information on it. Frankly, a little shocked that there aren't more people talking about it just yet, but I'm going to get a little more deeper dive on it, a little more background, and I'll be here to chat with you shortly on it. Folks, thank you very much. I really appreciate this time. Starting to feel a little more comfortable looking at a camera and nobody else around, and I'm making it easier. So I appreciate your time tonight, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it. So thank you. Good night.